After 15 years researching senior health and circulation, something strange happened when I turned 60. I started noticing the same symptoms in myself that I used to study in others. The heavy legs, the slower circulation, that feeling that your body stops responding the way it used to. So I decided to test something on myself. I took the simplest daily habit, water, and started experimenting. I added more than 60 different additions, compounds, combinations. Some did nothing, some made things worse. Most were completely useless, but a few changed something. The discovery caught me off guard. Drinking more water made no difference. The body's reaction to water changes after 60, and you need to trigger it differently. When I finally narrowed it down, there were only 5 additions that made a noticeable difference. Not slowly, not over months, but in a way you could feel. Better circulation, lighter legs, more response in the body. Most seniors keep doing the right things and still feel stuck. They're missing the one small shift that changes how the body uses what you give it. Today, I'm ranking these 5 water additions from good to incredible. And one of these is something I almost ignored at first. Yet, it ended up making the biggest difference. I've put all the studies and sources in the description below if you want to check them. Have you struggled with poor circulation or heavy legs? Drop a comment below because we read every single one. Number 5. Lemon and raw ginger water. This combination has been used in traditional medicine for centuries, but modern science has finally caught up and confirmed exactly why it works so well for blood circulation in aging adults. Most people think of this as just a nice morning drink, but the biochemistry happening inside your body is remarkably powerful. We're talking about squeezing fresh lemon juice into your water and adding thin slices of raw ginger root. Lemon is one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C, and this vitamin is absolutely essential for the production of a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is like a master switch for your blood vessels. It tells them when to relax and widen, which allows blood to flow freely to your extremities, your brain, and your heart. The problem is that after 60, your body produces significantly less nitric oxide on its own. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults who consumed higher levels of vitamin C had 23% higher nitric oxide availability compared to those with low intake. That difference can mean the gap between healthy circulation and sluggish blood flow that leads to cold hands, fatigue, and cognitive decline. The ginger is where things get even more powerful. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shogols that inhibit platelet aggregation, which is a fancy way of saying they prevent your blood from getting too sticky and clumping together. When blood platelets clump, they slow down, flow, and increase your risk of dangerous clots. A clinical trial published in the journal Thrombosis Research showed that participants who consumed the equivalent of 2 grams of raw ginger daily experienced a 19% reduction in platelet aggregation after just 8 weeks. That means blood was flowing more smoothly and with less risk of blockage throughout their entire cardiovascular system. To prepare this properly, take 1 full lemon and squeeze it fresh into a large glass of water. Then peel a 1-inch piece of raw ginger and slice it into thin coins before dropping them in. For maximum benefit, let the ginger sit in the water for at least 15 minutes so the active compounds leach out. You can also grate the ginger finely and stir it directly in if you prefer a stronger concentration. Drink this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach because absorption rates are highest when your digestive system isn't competing with food. Try to get at least 2 servings per day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The lemon and ginger work together where the vitamin C boosts nitric oxide production, while the ginger keeps the blood flowing smoothly. If you find the ginger too intense, start with a smaller piece and work your way up over a week or 2. This combination targets blood quality and vessel signaling. But the next addition works on the vessel walls themselves. Number 4. Cucumber and mint infusion. This trick is one of the simplest changes you can make, and yet most people completely overlook it. You might think this sounds like something you would get at a fancy spa, but the science behind it is incredibly serious. We're talking about adding fresh cucumber slices and a handful of mint leaves to your water and letting it infuse for at least 30 minutes before drinking. Cucumbers are loaded with a compound called silica, which plays a direct role in maintaining the structural integrity of your blood vessel walls. As you age past 60, those vessel walls become thinner and less elastic, which makes it harder for blood to flow smoothly. Silica helps reinforce the connective tissue that holds those vessels together. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that participants who increased their dietary silica intake showed a 12% improvement in arterial flexibility over a 12-week period. That is significant when you consider that even a small gain in flexibility translates to better blood pressure regulation and more efficient oxygen delivery throughout the body. Your arteries need to expand and contract with each heartbeat, and when they lose flexibility, your heart has to work harder to push blood through. The mint is not just there for flavor. Mint contains rosmarinic acid, a natural compound that acts as a vasodilator, meaning it helps your blood vessels relax and widen. When your vessels are wider, blood can pass through with less resistance and less strain on your heart. A study in the journal Phytomedicine demonstrated that rosmarinic acid reduced vascular resistance by roughly 15% in older adults within just 2 weeks of consistent use. Vascular resistance is the amount of force your heart must generate to push blood through your circulatory system. Lower resistance means easier blood flow and less work for your heart. The best way to prepare this is to take half a medium cucumber and slice it thin. Then grab about 10 to 12 fresh mint leaves and gently crush them between your fingers to release the oils. Drop everything into a pitcher of filtered water and let it sit in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes, though overnight infusion gives the strongest concentration. Drink this throughout the day, aiming for at least 3 full glasses. The key is consistency because the benefits compound over time as your blood vessels gradually regain some of their lost elasticity. One thing to keep in mind is that you want to use organic cucumbers when possible because the skin time contains most of the silica. If you can't find organic, wash the cucumber very thoroughly or peel it, though peeling removes some beneficial compounds. This simple combination works on 2 fronts simultaneously, strengthening your vessel walls while also relaxing them for easier blood flow. It's a 1-2 punch that plain water cannot deliver. But cucumber and mint address the vessels themselves. The next addition targets the smallest blood pathways, where circulation problems often start. Number 3. Cayenne pepper warm water tonic. This trick might sound intense, but the research behind it is absolutely compelling, especially for adults over 60 dealing with poor circulation in their legs, hands, and feet. Many people avoid cayenne because of the heat, but once you understand what it's doing inside your body, you'll see why it earned this spot. We're talking about adding a small amount of cayenne pepper to warm water and drinking it as a daily tonic. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, which is the molecule responsible for that burning sensation when you eat spicy food. But what most people don't realize is that capsaicin is one of the most potent natural vasodilators ever studied. When capsaicin enters your bloodstream, it triggers the release of substance P and calcitonin gene-related peptide, 2 neuropeptides that cause your blood vessels to rapidly expand. This isn't just a mild relaxation. This is a powerful dilation response that opens up circulation pathways that may have been constricted for years. A clinical study published in the journal Clinical Nutrition found that participants who consumed capsaicin daily for 4 weeks experienced a 26% improvement in peripheral blood flow, meaning blood was reaching their extremities much more effectively. If you've been dealing with cold feet, numb toes, or fingers that lose sensation easily, this is directly addressing that problem. Another study published in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology found that capsaicin consumption increased microcirculation, the flow of blood through your tiniest capillaries, by up to 31% in older adults. This is particularly important because microcirculation is what delivers oxygen and nutrients directly to your tissues at the cellular level. When microcirculation declines, you get symptoms like numbness in your toes, slow wound healing, and skin that bruises easily. All of these are signs that blood isn't reaching the smallest vessels the way it should. To prepare this tonic, start with a large mug of warm water, not boiling, but comfortably warm. Add just 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper powder and stir thoroughly until fully dissolved. This starting dose is very mild and will produce just a gentle warmth in your throat and stomach. Over 2 weeks, you can gradually increase to 1/4 teaspoon as your tolerance builds. Some people eventually work up to half a teaspoon, but start small and listen to your body. Drink this once daily, preferably in the morning about 30 minutes before breakfast. The warm water is important because it helps the capsaicin absorb more quickly. If you find the taste too sharp, you can add a small squeeze of lemon without reducing effectiveness. People taking blood-thinning medications should consult their doctor before starting this. However, for most healthy adults over 60, this tonic is safe and effective for pushing blood into areas that have been slowly losing circulation. The heat you feel is the blood vessels opening up. That warmth spreading through your chest is a physical sign that capsaicin is working. This forces open the smallest pathways, but the next addition floods your system with the molecule your vessels need most. Number 2. Beetroot juice diluted in water. If there's one drink that has taken the cardiovascular research world by storm over the past decade, it's beetroot juice, and for very good reason. The results from clinical studies have been so dramatic that many researchers initially thought there was a measurement error. Beets are the single richest natural source of dietary nitrates, which your body converts directly into nitric oxide through a pathway that starts in your mouth and continues in your stomach. This is critical because, as we discussed earlier, nitric oxide is the key molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and dilate. But what makes beetroot different from other nitric oxide boosters is the concentration. The amount of nitrates in beets is so high that the effects are measurable within just a few hours of drinking it. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Hypertension found that participants who drank roughly 250 milliliters of beetroot juice experienced a significant drop in blood pressure and a 20% increase in blood flow to their muscles within just 3 hours. That is not a gradual improvement over months. That is your body responding almost immediately to a flood of usable nitrates. Your blood vessels are literally opening wider and allowing more blood through within hours of drinking this. Another study from the University of Exeter, published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, found that older adults who consumed beetroot juice daily for 2 weeks showed a 16% improvement in exercise endurance directly linked to improved oxygen delivery through better blood circulation. More oxygen reaching your muscles means less fatigue, better stamina, and easier movement. The reason we dilute it in water rather than drinking it straight is twofold. First, concentrated beetroot juice can be quite strong on the stomach, and diluting it makes it easier to digest. Second, spreading it out in water means you sip it over a longer period, giving your body a more sustained release of nitrates. To prepare this, take about 100 milliliters of pure beetroot juice with no added sugars and mix it into a large glass of water, roughly 300 milliliters. Stir it well and drink it in the morning, ideally about 2 hours before any physical activity, because that's when peak nitric oxide conversion occurs. If you prefer whole beets, you can boil or roast one medium beet and blend it with water to create your own fresh juice at home. This is preferable because you control what goes into it and you avoid any preservatives. The key is consistency because daily intake keeps nitric oxide levels elevated throughout the day rather than creating temporary spikes. Your body adapts to the regular supply and your vessels maintain better tone. One important note is that beetroot juice may turn your urine or stool a reddish color. This is completely harmless and is just a natural pigment called betanin passing through your system. Don't let it alarm you. Beetroot creates a massive surge in the molecule your vessels need, but the final addition doesn't just boost nitric oxide. It repairs the damage blocking your circulation. Number 1. Hibiscus flower cold brew. This is the addition that earned the number 1 spot on this list, and once you hear the research, you'll understand exactly why. The results were so powerful that they rival prescription medications designed specifically for vascular health. Hibiscus flowers, specifically the dried petals of the Hibiscus sabdorifa plant, contain an extraordinarily high concentration of anthocyanins and polyphenols that work directly on your blood vessels in a way no other natural ingredient can match. When you cold brew these petals in water overnight, you extract the maximum amount of these compounds without destroying them with heat. A landmark clinical trial published in the Journal of Human Hypertension studied adults with an average age of 65 and found that those who consumed hibiscus water daily for 6 weeks experienced a 44% improvement in flow-mediated dilation, which is the gold standard measurement for how well your blood vessels expand and contract. That 44% number stunned the researchers because it rivals the effects of some prescription medications designed specifically for vascular health. To put that in perspective, most natural interventions show improvements in the 10 to 15% range. Hibiscus nearly tripled that. Another major study published in Phytotherapy. Research found that hibiscus extract reduced arterial stiffness by 17% in older adults over just 4 weeks. Arterial stiffness is one of the primary drivers of poor circulation after 60 because stiff arteries cannot flex and push blood forward the way elastic vessels can. When your arteries are stiff, blood pools in certain areas and struggles to reach extremities. The anthocyanins in hibiscus work by increasing the bioavailability of nitric oxide while simultaneously reducing oxidative stress in the endothelial cells that line your arteries. Think of it as both boosting the signal for your vessels to relax and cleaning up the damage that's been preventing them from responding properly. Oxidative stress is like rust building up inside your blood vessels. It damages the delicate cells that control dilation. Hibiscus doesn't just tell your vessels to open up. It actively removes the oxidative damage, blocking them from functioning correctly. To prepare this correctly, take 2 tablespoons of dried hibiscus petals and place them in a large glass jar with about 1 liter of cold filtered water. Do not use hot water because temperatures above 70 degrees Celsius destroy a significant portion of the anthocyanins. Place the jar in your refrigerator and let it steep for a minimum of 8 hours, though 12 hours produces the strongest concentration. The longer it sits, the more anthocyanins leach out. In the morning, strain out the petals and drink the deep red liquid throughout the day. It has a naturally tart flavor similar to cranberry, and you can add a small amount of raw honey if needed. Aim for 3 to 4 glasses spread across the day. You can find dried hibiscus petals at most health food stores, international grocery shops, or online. They're incredibly affordable. The consistency of daily intake is what matters most because the studies showing the strongest results were all based on regular, uninterrupted consumption over multiple weeks. This is not a one-time fix, but a daily habit that progressively restores vascular function you may have been losing for decades. The 44% improvement means your circulation is approaching levels you may not have experienced in years. Your blood vessels have the ability to recover and improve at any age. And sometimes, all they need is the right support dissolved in a simple glass of water. These 5 additions can transform ordinary water into a circulation-boosting drink your body has been craving. The beautiful thing is that none of these require a prescription. None of them are expensive, and all of them are backed by real published clinical research. You can start with just 1 today and build from there. Which one are you most excited to try? Have you noticed poor circulation or heavy legs getting worse? Drop a detailed comment below because we read every single one carefully. If this helped, hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.